You're poisoning the world, and you're good at it. That's what my dad said to me when he found out that my new job involved collaborating with the United Nations. If it helps, my mum feels quite differently, and she can often be heard describing me to strangers as her daughter who's fixing all of the world's problems with the UN. So depending on which parent you talk to, I'm either destroying or saving the world, no pressure. My dad didn't always think this way, though. He's a lifelong Democrat. He's Ivy League educated. He's sweet, kind, funny. He loves baking apple cakes and building worlds on Minecraft. But about 10 years ago, something shifted. He started spending more and more time watching YouTube videos, and he was sucked down a rabbit hole of red-pilling, QAnon, conspiracy theory. At first, it seemed kind of harmless, some alternative takes, some out-there political theories, but it began to get more and more extreme. Conversations stopped being conversations, and I tried everything that I thought made sense, facts, logic, evidence, but I'd sometimes find myself in screaming matches in public with him saying things like, "Hillary Clinton is literally eating babies." And it's really hard to know how to respond to that. When our worldviews become so polarized, it's really hard to find arguments that can bridge that divide. And here's the irony. I spend all of my working life trying to debunk the disinformation that my dad believes. As global head of campaigns, I run a platform called Verified for Climate, alongside the United Nations Department for Global Communications, which is a bit of a mouthful, I know. Verified for Climate is a platform where we try and combat mis and disinformation through creative campaigns, trusted messenger networks, and we're trying to reach disengaged audiences to try and move them to climate action. But my big learning on the importance of connection didn't actually come from my working life. It didn't come from some data on audience behavior. It came while I was sitting on a deck chair in Portugal. It was late at night, and I'd called my dad in America to wish him a happy birthday. The conversation was gentle at first. He asked me how my day was. He apologized for misplacing his phone, which he does quite a lot. But then suddenly we were in an argument. It was about my work. It was about a climate conference that I was about to attend, or COP. He wanted me to know how evil the work I was doing was, how harmful the things I was putting out into the world were, how diabolical of an institution the UN really was. At a loss, I just went quiet. And then I said, "Dad, does it make you sad that I don't call as often as I used to?" And he said, "Yeah, it makes me really sad." And that was the moment. Not some big revelation, just sadness, his and mine. And we sat with that in silence, in agreement. And what that moment taught me, and what my work has shown me time and time again, is this. People don't change their beliefs because of some fact-spewing argument. They change because they feel a genuine connection. They feel seen, heard, understood. Disinformation doesn't spread because people lack intelligence or information. It spreads because there's a belief system that offers people something, hope, belonging, identity, in a world that feels increasingly unstable. And so with my work, what I try to do is not argue with the facts, but instead meet people where they are. I try and craft different narratives, better ones anchored in facts, but shaped by empathy, that give people something that they can genuinely believe in. And we saw this working really, really well in some research we ran in 2025. We were trying to understand what messages around energy transition and climate might resonate with right-leaning audiences across Europe. And what we found was actually these audiences weren't anti-climate, but they were afraid. They were afraid that these rapid changes were going to threaten their daily lives. They felt misunderstood. They felt not listened to, ignored. They felt like politicians often misled or even manipulated them. And what we found was when we were able to reframe energy solutions around jobs, security, stability, and local pride, rather than some kind of abstract, big planetary rescue, well, they were much more willing to listen. And when they felt that their genuine concerns and complaints were recognized, they felt seen. These audiences were persuadable. We just had to stop talking at them and start listening. And now, when we zoom up above society and look down, what we see are media systems that reward polarization. Outrage performs well. Certainty is entertaining. But the danger with that logic is it then bleeds up into our political systems and down into the way that we interact with one another. We're all losing the ability to disagree well. Social media also rewards us for being extreme. There's no button for, I don't really know. There's a theory online called the bean soup theory, and it goes a little something like this. Somebody posts a recipe for bean soup. Immediately, fury. What if I don't like beans? I'm actually deathly allergic to beans. This recipe could kill me. And you just want to say, well, it's okay. It's all right. Don't make the bean soup. But that's how the algorithm functions. On a binary, it sorts us into different categories by our responses. It forces us in the moment to have these extreme reactions and opinions. It atomizes us. It erodes the idea of a we. And here's the thing. We are less divided than we think we are. The 89% Project, a global journalistic effort, found 90% of people want stronger climate action. But most people radically underestimate that their neighbors feel exactly the same way. We think we're alone, but we're not. Algorithms can profit from convincing us that we're surrounded by enemies. But the truth, it's far less dramatic. Mostly, we want similar things. We just think that the people that exist on those extreme edges represent far more people than is actually true. So, if the algorithm is designed to divide us, what's the antidote? And look, I'm not here to say that the internet's a hopeless place. I've spent most of my career trying to work out how to connect with people online. And I've seen millions of people mobilize through hope and action. But what I am saying is that platforms built for scale, speed, commerce are really bad at holding nuance. During the pandemic, we originally launched Verified as a platform for combating mis and disinformation around the virus. We launched a campaign called Pause. And what we were trying to do with Pause was not change anybody's minds, but just ask people to stop, just for a moment, before liking, commenting, sharing. And that pause really mattered because it restored something that the algorithm can strip away: agency. Culture helps online, stories help, trusted voices help, but depth, the kind of shift that allows us to see each other as we are, requires something slower. Many of us can't avoid those awkward situations that seem to be happening more often. The family meal around the holidays with that one problematic family member. The friend from school who always wants to meet up for a drink but holds opinions that we can't stand. And those situations are more and more frequent the more radically the world changes. We can find a balm in our communities and in what we share, in spaces where we're able to show up as our whole selves and not just political avatars. But I know what you're thinking. My friend isn't just misguided, they're spreading dangerous lies, or I've tried, I haven't got any energy to give to this. And both of those are extremely valid responses. Not all relationships are worth saving or safe to save. I'm not saying that you need to agree with everybody everywhere all at once. What I am saying is that we're losing that muscle memory for disagreeing well, especially when a conversation makes us feel uncomfortable. And building back that muscle memory in ways that we're able to, with people that we are able to reach, it really matters. So if you do have the capacity, these are some things that I've learned. Begin with what you share, with shared ground, whether that's food, family, nature, religion. Lead with what you're for, not what you're against. Listen with empathy and resist the urge to reject information wholesale in the moment. Show up imperfectly, kindly, and understand that it's not on you to solve everything. Our community is our power. It's where we can come together and build movements that can change the world. And it's where we can protect our neighbors from the dangerous ideologies that are taking root. Before I finish, there's something I need to acknowledge. My dad is perpetually online, so he will see this video. I have told him about it, he's very aware. But if I believe, as I do, that connection matters more than agreement, then I have to demonstrate that here, now, too. So, hi, Dad. I love you. And I hope that you know that I'm doing this out of a desire for us to understand each other better. Sometimes conversations are still really hard. They still end in frustration. But we keep showing up. Not because I think I'm going to somehow win him over with the perfect argument, but because he's my dad. And love doesn't require agreement. The opposite of polarization is not agreement, it's connection. And connection sometimes requires something radical of us. Discomfort, staying, letting go of the idea of being right. Algorithms are often run by corporations who can profit from our division, but we are not algorithms. We are human beings who crave meaning and connection. The algorithm won't save our relationships. The algorithm won't save our communities. The algorithm won't save our democracies. But we can, one conversation at a time. Thank you.